warm-up, the very beginning section of a complete beginner's class. So everybody should be able to cope with this. Make sure you have a couple of blocks, or if you haven't got the right props, you can always use some books or something to help you. You might need those throughout the class. There's 3 sections to this class. There's a warm-up, a transition, and a dynamic section. And we're working towards a goal that we'll get to in the dynamic section of a nice balancing pose, which is called Ardha Chandrasana. So everything we're doing throughout the first 2 sections and the first part of the 3rd section is to prepare the body to find ease and comfort and stability in this balance. So let's get started. Just sit comfortably cross-legged or in any comfortable position to begin with. Hands on the knees or the thighs, and close your eyes. Just take a moment to allow yourself to fully become present in the body. That sense of arriving in the present moment, recognizing the sensation of the legs touching the floor, sit bones grounded. Allow the spine to elongate and the shoulders to soften. Swallow deeply so that the throat relaxes, and soften behind the eyes. And then turn your awareness to your breath. In the first few moments, just listen. Be observant of the space you create on each inhale and the softness, the relaxation you get on each exhale. And then we deepen the breath. On your next exhale, drawing the navel in towards the spine, emptying all the air out. Inhaling deeply, breathing up into the ribs, in the chest, and into the back. And exhaling to empty, navel in, emptying all the air out. Inhaling into the sides of the ribs, collarbones, shoulder blades. And exhaling, empty, navel in, emptying all the air out. Inhaling fully and exhaling long, and continue and just cultivating that soft ujjayi breath, making sure that the lower abdominals, the uddiyana bandha, the transverse abdominis is always gently engaged, nothing too restrictive or too tight. Keep that rhythm to your breath, and when you're ready, on your next inhale, opening the eyes and coming to laying down on your backs. And once you're down on your back, hug your knees into the chest and just start making small circles with the knees around the hips. And so we're first of all just tuning into the lower back, around the sit bones, around the sacrum, either side of the sacrum itself. And try a couple times in each direction, just waking up that connection down into the back of the hips, the lower spine. And then you might want to take the knees in separate circles. So maybe one's going around, forward and around, the other one's going back and around, just to oil up the hip joints themselves a little bit. And then same thing going the other way. So we're just stimulating a bit of movement, getting everything awake and alive to begin with. And a little rocking from side to side, so you start to get that sensation that you're massaging in between the shoulder blades, and allow your head to turn from side to side so you can start to feel the back of the skull and the back and the front of the neck start to wake up. Make a few circles with your jaw, especially if you have a tendency to clench the jaw. And then bring everything into a neutral position and start to wake up the feet, the wrists and the ankles. Just lift the legs up towards the ceiling and the arms, but let them be floaty and nice and soft, nothing rigid. And just start by making circles with the wrists, going in both directions. And then if you can add the ankles or do them separately, get everything going in the same direction. or in reverse directions. Just trying to get the ankles, toes, wrists, and fingers. Just get a little blood circulation in there. And then on your next exhale, just hug the knees into the chest. Draw the shoulder blades gently down the back. Take a few breaths there, just breathing into the body now as it is, a little bit more alive and awake. On your next exhale, take the arms out to the side, shoulder height. And keep the lower abdominals, the transverse abdominis gently engaged. And as you exhale, twist your knees to the right, gently turn your head to the left, but don't place them down on the floor. Inhale, bring them back up through center, and exhale, twisting to the other side. Inhale, back up through center, and exhale over to the right. So continue from side to side for a few times. Just see if you can keep the hands pushing down into the floor, the shoulder blades relaxed. And you're having to engage around the navel to keep the front of the spine in control so that you can open up and stretch to the back of the spine. And then without rushing, the next time your knees are over to the right, let's go ahead and place the legs down on the floor. So right thigh on the floor, left leg stacked on top, just as best as you can. Right, so there might still be a slight tilt in the hips. Take a few breaths here and breathe into the back of the rib cage, into the back of the waist, and just let that line of movement as it wraps around to the outside of the thigh, just let that soften. If it's comfortable, you can go ahead and take your right hand and just grab a hold of your left knee and just draw it a little bit further along. If it's comfortable in your neck, turn your chin towards your left shoulder and breathe up into the left collarbone and into the back of the rib cage. One more breath there. And then as you exhale, release the right hand, lift the knees back up, and same thing to the other side. Dropping the knees to the left, and as best as you can, stacking that right leg on top. Take a couple breaths in the first few moments just to release in the back of the rib cage and in the back of the waist. And then once you feel comfortable, placing the left hand on the outside of the right knee or thigh, just giving a little bit of pressure to draw that spiral in the spine around a little bit more. Breathing up into the collarbones. And again, if it's comfortable to turn the head, look towards your right hand. Make sure the back of the neck stays nice and long. There should be equal amount of space in the front and the back of the throat. On your next exhale, releasing that left hand back down to the floor, bring the knees back up to center, and exhale, place the soles of the feet down on the floor. Pick up your right leg, cross the right ankle just above the left knee. Keeping the hands on the floor, lift the left knee towards the chest, keep both feet flexed so the feet are alive, the knees are neutral. And then start making circles with that left knee. So I'm just starting an easy massage into the outside of the right hip, but also notice I have to engage through the front core, the transverse abdominis, obliques, and I have to keep my shoulders relaxed, doing a little bit of work in the back. So make sure you circle in both directions. And then as you exhale, draw that left knee in towards your chest, grab a hold of the back of the left thigh now. If it's really comfortable, you can grab a hold of the left shin. And a little rocking from side to side. So I'm still just warming up, so I don't want to get fixed into anything, and I want to be able to negotiate what's going on in the hip, recognizing if it feels uncomfortable, knowing when it's too much, and then I can just back off and make it a little bit easier by taking the left knee further away. If it's really comfortable, you can straighten through the left leg, and you might even grab a hold of the left calf. These are all just options. You've got to just experiment and see what works best for you. On your next exhale, if the left leg is straight, go ahead and bend it again. Take the arms out to the side and take the whole structure of the legs and just fold them over to the left. So the sole of the right foot's on the floor and the side of the left leg is on the floor. Just a gentle bit of pressure with that left knee into the right foot. Take your left hand, place it on the inside of the right knee and push it away and roll the chest open. So you'll feel this a little bit more through the piriformis, into the outside of the hip and that line that runs down the outside of the thigh. So it's just a little bit more of a sense of traction in the spine to get a little bit deeper in the hip. And we'll just take 1 or 2 more breaths there. And then release the hand, bring the whole shape back up to center, and then release both feet back down to the floor. And then the same thing on the left side, crossing the left ankle just above the right knee. Lift the right knee towards the chest. Remember, we start with the hand staying down on the floor, making circles with the right knee. And we're going to do at least 3 or 4 in each direction. But again, make sure the feet are alive, the knees feel like they're protected, and you're engaging through the transverse abdominis, through the navel. You're also getting more of that massage into the lower back. And then after your next circle, go ahead and draw that right knee in towards the chest. Grab a hold of the back of the right thigh, or once again, the right shin if it feels more comfortable. But keep a slight rocking sensation. So I'm not going to try to get fixed. I'm not going to strain in the hip. I want everything to stay nice and buoyant and juicy. Once again, if it's comfortable, extending through that right leg, maybe grabbing a hold of the calf. And it's just going to depend. If you straighten the leg and it's too much, just go back to bending it. Couple more breaths there. And then, once again, release the hands, shoulder height down to the floor, and just twisting everything to the right this time. So the sole of the left foot's on the floor, the outside of the right leg's down. Taking your right hand, press the inside of the left knee away from you. So I create a little bit of traction in the lower back, and I'm feeling this a little bit deeper into the hip socket itself. Breathing up into the rib cage. Making sure the bottom leg, the right leg, stays alive so that I don't start sliding away. 1 more breath there. And then as you exhale, release the hand back down. And bring the legs back up. Release both feet back. And grabbing a hold of the back of the thighs or the fronts of the shins. And rocking back and forth a few times. Giving that last bit of massage on the back before we come upright. And the next time you're all the way up, let's go ahead and stay here. Place the knees and the feet in the same line, so about hip distance apart. Lengthen up through the spine. And reach forward like you're grabbing a big beach ball. And as you exhale, we start making circles with this beach ball around the knees. So you're letting the spine twist as it lowers and as it comes back up. And changing directions. So to begin with, keep the feet really planted down on the ground. Connect that action into the navel, into the transverse abdominis, as well as to the sides of the ribs, which is the obliques. Then to add a little bit of challenge, and this is just an option, we're going into what I call toddler wobble. So now we're making circles, but we're letting the feet float, right? So I'm not keeping anything fixed, and I'm letting other muscles kind of join the party. Everything's getting involved, the lower back, the middle back, the sides of the body. So everything starts to help in that process of finding a nice, fluid core. And I'm just firing this up because later on I'm going to need some stability, and I want to make sure all the muscles are ready to work for me. And after a few more breaths here, go ahead, grab the knees, hug them into the chest, drop the chin, close the eyes, and just come back to a nice, normal, natural breath. Swallowing deeply. One more breath there. And then inhale. Lift the head, open the eyes. And now we're going to move on to the transition section.